Welcome to Movie Stories. Today's story is a horror and sci-fi film from 2019, called The Silence. Spoilers ahead. Watch out and take care. The story starts as some excavators hammer the inside of a cave in a cave system in Pennsylvania. While they dig through the cave, they discover an expansive chamber. They inform their team about a discovery when suddenly, a fleet of deadly creatures attack them. Blood splatters everywhere when the bird-like creatures fly around, flapping their wings. Allie is a deaf teenage girl living in Montclair, New Jersey. She is walking down the street, watching something on her tablet. A group of boys mocks her in sign language, but she ignores them. Allie's father, Hugh Andrews, and his friend Glenn are engineers. They finish their meeting with a client, after which Hugh tells Glenn about Allie's plan to go to NYU. Hugh then receives a call from his wife Kelly, who tells him about Allie being mocked by some boys in the school. Her parents are worried for her. Allie lives with her grandmother, Lynn, her little brother Jude, and her parents. That day Allie is walking home from school when her friend Rob covers her eyes from behind. Rob tells her about him going to buy a new car this coming weekend. He promises Allie to pick her up daily. They walk back together, hand in hand. Rob seems to like Allie. When Allie reaches home, she greets Kelly and Lynn. Kelly asks her why she is late. Allie answers that she was with Rob, and they both walked home together. Kelly suspects that Rob might be Allie's boyfriend, so she asks her if she has kissed him. Allie assures her they are just friends. Suddenly, Allie hears a ringing tone in her ears. She goes by the window and looks at the sky. The family enjoys dinner together that night. After dinner, while Allie strolls in the backyard, she finds Lynn smoking. Lynn requests Allie not to tell her mom about it. On her way to her room, Allie sees her parents arguing. She then lays in her bed watching something on her tablet when Hugh enters the room. He asks her about Rob. She tells him that her mom freaked out without any reason and dismisses it. He expresses that they are worried about her. When Hugh asks her if Rob is a nice guy, she informs him that he is learning sign language. Hugh then assures her that she can talk to him about anything and leaves. At 3 a.m, Kelly wakes Allie up. She goes out to see the whole family in the living room. Hugh is on the phone with someone and looks tense. They watch the news on TV. Glenn arrives at their house too. The news says that the cities of Pittsburgh and Philadelphia have been hit by something. The news first said it to be a terrorist and later a chemical attack. No one knows what is happening. Glenn suggests changing the channel. The news reporter on the other channel tells about the strange creatures known as Vests that escaped from a cave in Pennsylvania in a large number and are easily provoked by loud noises. A drastic scene in the television shows a woman showing a signboard that says, "Don't make noise," while the creatures screech and squeal in the background. All of a sudden, a loud noise startles everyone. They see fighter planes in the sky. The family then agrees to follow the instructions about not making noises, but they plan to leave their house and go someplace safe. They start packing their stuff in the car. Glenn also takes some firearms and ammunition with him. Jude drives with Glenn, and Hugh follows them in another car with the rest of the family. They also take their dog, Otis. In another part of the city, several people are trapped in the subway. Terrified of the creature, they are all silent. But just then, a baby starts crying. A man takes the baby away from the mother to get her outside, but the mother insists on leaving with the baby. She takes the child and gets out of the train. Soon, the baby's pacifier drops, and she starts crying. The creatures fly towards the woman and her baby as she tries to run away. Meanwhile, Allie talks to Rob as they drive away from the city. They promise to stay in touch with each other until this creature crisis is over. After a while, they stop at a gas station. Allie takes her dog to pee when it suddenly starts barking at a man with a shotgun. The man fires his gun and tells them to make the dog stop barking at him. He then tries to rob them and asks Hugh to give him his car key. Just as Hugh is about to hand his keys, Glenn shoots the man on his legs, and the family drives off. The following day, Allie tells Kelly about the Vesps and how they escaped. They all hit huge traffic on their way. Glenn and Hugh change their course and drive off-road. Glenn leads the way and Hugh follows. Suddenly, a large flock of deers crosses Glenn's path, forcing him to turn. The car drops off a small cliff in a forest, and he gets trapped inside. Glenn asks Hugh to leave him and move on to be safe from the creatures. Kelly tries calling help, but the phone has no signal. Hugh tries freeing, but he cannot. In the end, he promises Glenn that he would find a cutter and come back to free him. As the family drives off, the dog starts barking. Suddenly a Vespa attacks their car. It strikes in the car window while the dog barks at it. Soon, many other Vesps attack their car. Glenn hears the creatures squealing and starts firing his gun to distract them. They all then fly to him, hearing the gunshots. He shoots the Vesps that attack him but ultimately is killed by them. Hugh and the family listen to him screaming. The Vesps' flock return as they hear the dog barking. Hugh decides to let the dog go as Allie cries of dismay. They all then remain silent and sit in the car. After some time, Hugh tells the family that he needs to try something and gets out of the car. Suddenly, Lynn starts coughing because of her asthma. The sound of cough draws a vesp to the car again. Hugh then throws a tire iron in another direction to draw away the vesp. He enters the car and tells the family that the creatures cannot see. Allie tells them that they all know sign language and they can speak without making sounds. Unable to use their vehicle due to its noise, Hugh asks for Lynn's lighter and goes to Glenn's car. He lights the car on fire, and the rumbling fire sound attracts all the vesps. The family then decides to hike through the forest and find shelter for the night. They hike for a while and take some rest. Soon, Jude finds a cabin in the middle of the forest while looking from his binoculars. They all head towards the cabin. It is already dark when they reach there. They approach the cabin and try opening the door, but the door starts making a sound from bells attached. A woman comes out with a gun asking the family to leave. All of a sudden, she is attacked by a flock of vesps, and she gets killed. Soon, the family finds a tunnel to get through the fence. Hugh crawls through the fence to get to the other side. He gets through and looks inside the cabin, then signals the others to come while the vesps feed on the owner woman. The family crawls inside the tunnel when suddenly a rattlesnake appears in front of Jude. The vesps are attracted to the sound, and they start biting Kelly. Immediately, Hugh turns on a wood chipper that draws the swarm of vesps to their death. The family then enters the cabin. Kelly is injured from the bites. They all start treating Kelly's injury. The wound looks bad. Later that night, Kelly and Jude fall asleep. Hugh and Lynn drink and Allie calls Rob again. She finds that the situation at Rob's is getting worse. He tells her that his family is dead. She tells Rob to come to her, but the call disconnects. The next day, Kelly's wound gets worse. Lynn tells Hugh and Allie that Kelly's wound needs to be treated with antibiotics soon, or it will spread through her body. Hugh and Allie then take off to find medical supplies nearby, and Jude stays with Lynn and Kelly. Hugh then opens the fence's gate, trying not to make any sound. Allie and he both get out of the fence to see many vesps flying around in the sky. They all have gathered in the electric grids and are squealing, making strange noises. Soon, Hugh and Allie reach a town. There are no people in the town. Allie and Hugh find a pharmacy and try getting inside. They try going in from the back when a strange man follows them and watches them from outside. Hugh collects the medical supplies when Allie finds the eggs of the vesps about to hatch. Soon a flock of vesps enters the pharmacy. Hugh and Allie light a fire to a cleaning mop. The vesps screech and roar more intensely. Hugh distracts the vesps by activating the fire sprinklers and escapes the pharmacy with Allie. Soon after they get out, the man following them approaches and tells them he is a reverend. He asks them to join his flock named the Hushed. The man doesn't have a tongue. Allie and Hugh dismiss the strange man and get back to the cabin. After they reach the cabin, Allie tells her father that CNN News reported that the vesps are not surviving in the colder climates in the northern parts. She also tells him that they are calling the place the Gray and there is no electricity, and people are cut off from the world because of their devices dying off batteries. Later, the strange tongueless man whom Allie and Hugh met at the town arrives outside the cabin with some other people. He requests Hugh to follow their cult, but Hugh refuses and asks them to leave him and his family alone. The strange tongueless man writes, "The girl is fertile," referring to Allie. Immediately, Hugh gets a gun and aims at the Reverend. The Reverend shows him his cut-off tongue, and his group leaves. That night, Rob messages Allie about him heading north to a place called the Refuge. Allie's internet dies suddenly. Hugh tells Kelly that they all have to head north soon. Thunder rumbles as all the family are asleep. All of a sudden, Hugh and Kelly wake up. They hear a creaking sound from outside. Soon, Lynn wakes up Jude. Allie is still sleeping. All of a sudden, a little girl arrives at their door. They all let her in. The little girl is in shock. They all ask the little girl about herself when they notice her tongue is cut off. She is a member of the cult of the Reverend. Allie wakes up in her room and looks through the window. Suddenly, Hugh and Kelly see the little girl is hiding several phones inside her clothes. The phones start ringing. The Reverend and their cult have planted more smartphones around the cabin. All of them start ringing at once, and the loud sound attracts the swarm of vesps. They begin attacking the cabin, and some even break through the window entering the room. They throw the phones in the water, damaging them to make the ringing stop, but more phones start ringing. Suddenly, several members of the cult break into the cabin and abduct Allie. Lynn follows the abductors and frees Allie. To protect Allie from them, she sacrifices herself by screaming and attracting the swarm of vesps to her and the cult members while Allie runs to the cabin. Suddenly, the Reverend takes Allie hostage with a knife on her throat and abducts her again. Hugh, Kelly, and Jude fight back with the Reverend and the cult members and eventually kill the Reverend. Finally, they free Kelly from them. The following day, Hugh, Kelly, Allie, and Jude hike north to the place called the Refuge. After a long walk, they reach their destination. Kelly charges her tablet on an abandoned jeep and receives a message from Rob. He had reached the Refuge. Soon she reunites with him. Allie and Rob then start hunting the vesps and begin adapting their survival skills to live in the changed, new world. Thanks for watching. Make sure to like and comment on the video if you enjoyed it, and Subscribe to the channel to see more of these movie summaries.